go with my iPad or my paper sheet that can below. Try the iPad start. About 20 years ago, a friend of mine told me that I keep winning prizes on the internet. They're really good prizes. I thought, well, that'd be really cool. And about, I don't know, a few weeks later, I clicked on a site and it popped up. You are the 1 millionth hit to this website. Click here to claim your prize. So I clicked and it said, you have won a free trip to Cancun, 7 days in Cancun, plus 4 days in Florida and a 3-day vacation to the Bahamas. And I thought, man, this is incredible. I went to Debbie to share this great news from God with her. And she said, just close out. It's probably a scam. This is 20 years ago. They were scamming, but not like they are today. So have you ever received good news, or good advice, I should say? You received good advice, but you ignored it because it did not line up with your plans, desires. So rather than listen to her good advice, I persisted. I finally wore her down. She did not share my excitement. She just simply said, fine, do whatever you want. So I called, I got the details. It was not completely free. There were port charges on this cruise, $200 a person. We were taking our daughter, so it would be $600. But I did book it. After I booked it, then I decided maybe I should go online and check out this company. They did not have a good reputation with the Better Business Bureau, and Nightline had done a story on them. I started thinking maybe I should have listened to Deb. Fortunately, it was not a total scam. They just weren't completely honest. Not only did we have the port charges, which we knew, but one of the things we were looking forward to is in the Bahamas and Nassau, there was this private beach where they supposedly had filmed Gilligan's Island. So we were excited about that. They did not tell us until we got out the ship, oh, by the way, you can't get there unless you pay $40 to take the shuttle, water taxi. So with all the promises that were made, I thought we were going on this vacation from heaven. But Debbie has always referred to it as the vacation from Hades. We never did book our free Cancun trip. Just as we were disappointed because I was looking for something great at little cost, it would seem many are believing the empty promises of this world, and they are getting taken in life. So today we begin a series titled Beyond, and we'll be looking at the invitation of Jesus and what it really means to follow him. Today's message is Beyond the American Dream. So let me begin by asking you 3 questions. Number 1, when Jesus gives his invitation to follow him, what is that an invitation to? Now, your response might depend on your church background growing up or lack of background growing up. But some think Jesus is inviting us to a life of faithful church attendance. Just means follow me and go to church every week. Others would say Jesus is inviting us to live a high moral life. Some would say he's invited us to a life of happiness and answered prayer. Follow Jesus, he will answer every prayer you ever pray. Certain backgrounds would say that it's an invitation to become wealthy and receive everything you've ever desired. Others would say he's offering us a one-way ticket out of hell. And the list goes on. Now, facets of these are benefits of being in a relationship with Jesus. There's truth in some of all of these. But none of them by themselves are the driving force that keeps us going when there are major obstacles before us and we're just tempted to quit and give up. Those things don't keep us going. So the question number 1 is, what is Jesus inviting to? Question number 2, you kind of asked this morning, how are you doing? And if you and I were to sit down face to face and I were to ask you, how are you? How would you respond? Most would probably say, I'm fine. I'm good. You might be honest and say, you know what, I've been better. Yet regardless of how you're answering the question, what are you basing your answer on? Is it because you're physically feeling better after some health issues? Maybe you're experiencing peace in your relationship, that you're not arguing, everyone's kind of pulling in the same direction. Maybe your answer is derived from how things are going at work. Your job's going well, you're accomplishing your goals, you just received a promotion. Yeah, I'm good. So what is it that causes you to say, I'm good with anything? Now we assume that we're fine and we're good. have been times when I've been pondering life and I'll say, Debbie, I think things are going pretty good. And she will give me a completely opposite response. I say, what do you mean? We're not arguing. She said, no, we are not arguing, but there's still this distance between us. I mean, we're very busy and we're just not as close as we used to be. So just because some of the negative aspects have been reduced does not necessarily mean it's all good. I think we often put life on cruise control and we go about our daily or our weekly routine. We go to work, we take care of our kids, our grandkids, or maybe our aging parents. We're making sure that everyone and everything is okay. And so we can do everything on that checklist, but we never ask ourselves, how am I doing? Which brings us to the third question. What is the purpose of your life? How do you measure your success? How do you know if you are passing or failing? I mean, is your goal simply to be happy? Are you seeking to accumulate wealth and material possessions? Are you seeking to make a name for yourself? Maybe your goal is simply, I just want to be comfortable. I never want to do anything that I don't want to do. I mean, that describes a lot of people today. When you come to the end of your life, what will be important to you? Man, I've looked to be a ripe old age. I mean, is that enough, regardless of the type of life you live? Do you want to have made a difference in this world? These are important questions because they will define how we live. They will determine what takes priority, what gets our attention in life, how we spend our money, what motivates us to keep going when we would rather give up, we're tired, and we just want to do nothing. But unless we take inventory of our lives, it's easy to say one thing with our lips and even believe it, while our actions reveal something completely different. Our son was diagnosed with dyslexia when he was in first grade. And when we found out, Debbie immediately said, we have to get him specialized tutoring for dyslexia. I said, no, we can't afford that. She said, we can't not afford that. So we made the sacrifice. Today he works in education. We're very proud of him. I gladly take the credit, or part of that credit. Truth is, if it were up to me, it never would have. My point is, both parents would have said, my children are the most important thing in my life. But my response, my initial response, revealed a different truth. So what do your actions reveal about it? Not what you're saying, but what your actions. There are basically two approaches to life. You can seek the good life, or you can seek to be a good person. I'll define those in a second. But it is possible to live a good life and not be a good person. And it is possible to be a good person and not live the good life. We do get to decide which one we will pursue. Most people try to do both, but Jesus said one will win out over the other. Now, if you want to find out what the good life is, just look at the advertisements, look at social media. A good life is a full head of hair. Ouch, that hurt. It's white teeth, it's driving the right truck, talking on the right phone, wearing the right clothes, having the right friends, living in the right neighborhood, in the right home. Plus you have a lake house, and you have a boat, and you have the toys, and you have all these vacations. None of these are wrong if we keep them in balance. But if they are not in balance, you can live the good life and not be a good person. If you want to know what the good person's life looks like, go to a funeral. Think about that. In my 40 years of ministry is I have the family there and the friends are there, the community is there, and they've all come out to pay their respect. And all of those funerals, no one has ever mentioned what kind of truck they drove, what kind of house they had, did they have the lake house, did they have, no one's ever mentioned that. And that's how we're so impressed with that. They don't mention that. They don't even mention hair or white teeth. Why is that? Because we realize in that moment, they don't matter. What does matter is when you say, well, he was a person of integrity. She was a person who loved her kids sacrificially. Again, that was Debbie. Her faith was evident in how she treated people, or he taught others what mattered most by the way that he lived. When you listen to these memories, you find out what the good person's life is all about. Watch advertisements, you find out what the good life is like. Doesn't it assume you'll find out what the good person is like? The question for us today is, what are you shooting? A good life, or to be a good person? Now, if our goal is to attain the good life, according to the world's standards, we will spend a lot of money and we will acquire a lot of things in order to have and to get and to set ourselves apart from other people. And that is the American dream. On the other hand, we can pursue being a good person as described in the New Testament, and we can live a life of sacrifice that follows Jesus, that accumulates far less than those around us because we put others first. So let me ask you, which sounds more appealing to you? Most people would say, well, the good life. Here's the paradox. We pursue the good life thinking that it will lead to peace and joy and purpose and hope. But it doesn't. If it did, if that's what the American dream was really, it filled all those, would all of our celebrities be in rehab, or would they end their life? It doesn't lead to what we think it's going to lead to. The reality is, if I pursue being a good person, I will experience more peace, joy, and purpose and hope than if I had all possessions. And yet this is so hard for us to grasp because of our Western mindset. We've been raised with the idea that me is more important than we. It wasn't a class we took in school. We never got a lesson on it. Yet, as they say, more is caught than taught. From a very young age, we have been conditioned to believe that me is more important than me. Think of some of the slogans we've heard through the years. You deserve a break today. Have it your way. This one was interesting. This is a while back, I think. Twitch promoted 2 for me and none for you. Of course, Snickers said, hungry? Why wait? And so these messages, they draw us in, but do they really lead to a better life? If we choose to live a life fulfilling every desire, we have no restraints, no restrictions, we just do whatever we want, what do you think our future will look like? Probably a lot like Ebenezer Scrooge. Solomon discovered this firsthand, and that's why he wrote, like a city whose walls are broken down is a man who lacks self-control. When we deny ourselves nothing, and it's just all about me, we are walking a hard road to destruction. And that's where our society is. That's the society we live in. That's what they're promoting. Jesus calls us to focus on we more than me. It's that we are to give up some of the me to experience the greater part of we, and that's what makes Christianity so hard for Americans. So this series will focus on the contrast of these 2 philosophies of life. So I hope you'll join us, that you will discover the peace, the power, and the promise and the joy that we will only find in Jesus. Again, as Sue said so eloquently. For the rest of our time, I want to quickly look at what the invitation is really all about. And there's many facets. I'm just going to look at 4 quickly. In Matthew 11, Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens. I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and I'm gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. Since I remove the burden, but it is light. So his invitation is, if you're overwhelmed by life, then come, and I will give rest to your soul. He will take our burdens, he will carry them for us. So let me ask you, could you use a little rest right now? Are you longing for a place of peace? If so, you have come to the right place. Jesus is offering for you to lay down your burdens today. We would love for you to be happy to pray with you and to talk and help you lay things down. In John 8, we see another aspect of the invitation. Jesus spoke to the people once more, and he said, I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't have to walk in darkness, because you will have the light that leads to life. In the first passage, Jesus said, let me teach you, for my burden is light. Again, my burden, so it's still a burden, but here's the thing. The Christian life is not easy, But comparatively speaking, the burdens are a lot less than following the world. They're much lighter. Debbie read me something this week, and regarding hard things, it basically said this: it's hard to have a job, but life is even harder if you do. It's hard to do the right thing, but life is much harder when you don't do the hard thing, or you choose your heart. I found this years ago. Portia Nelson wrote a piece titled Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. But it's not my fault. It takes forever to find my way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. And I see it is there, and I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. And I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. See, Jesus offers to lead us and to guide us into the light where we can see clearly, where we can see the potholes and we don't have to keep falling in them over and over and over again like we do. We can avoid the pitfalls. He doesn't remove all of the struggles. Life is still difficult. It's a lot less hard and offers a lot less, brings us a lot less regrets. And with Jesus, all things are possible. Well, Jesus also offers to satisfy the deepest longing of our lives. In John chapter 4, Jesus was speaking to a woman who had been married 5 times. She's now living with a new guy. So I think it's safe to say, as you two sang, she still had not found what she was looking for. And Jesus said to her, if you only knew the gift of God that God has for you, and to whom you are speaking, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. Anyone who drinks from this water that I give will never thirst again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life. So here Jesus makes that connection. Again, so we talked about it. It's amazing. We didn't talk about this. The Holy Spirit just brought it all together. But Jesus makes the connection that satisfaction comes from having an eternal perspective. That's the difference between seeking the good life and becoming the good person. So are you beginning to see his offer clearly? Is your life overwhelming? Is it weighing you down? Right? That you have all these heavy burdens that you just cannot carry yourself. Jesus says, follow me and I will carry them for you. Follow me and I will show you a new way to live in the light. I'll lead you out of the darkness into the light where you can see clearly. And as you do, you will learn to make better and wiser choices. You will have a lot less regrets and more victories in life. Follow me, and the emptiness in your life will finally be satisfied. So are you longing for change? Are you longing for a better life? Jesus is the answer. There's one more piece of the invitation that puts it all in perspective. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. He explained to Nicodemus why that is. For God so loved the world, he gave his one and only Son. Whoever believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Because God loves you, he wants you in heaven with him. However, heaven is sinless. You and I are not. We cannot enter heaven with our sin. That would contaminate heaven. It's kind of like putting an onion in the refrigerator that contaminates everything. So God has to remove our sin so we can enter heaven and not contaminate. That is why Jesus died on the cross, so he could take our punishment, so we can become sinless. It says those who believe him will not perish. They will not be separated from God for eternity. And we will receive eternal life. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world. You know, the world thinks that Jesus came to steal their fun, so they're running away from him. Truth is, Jesus didn't come to death and judge them, to save them, but they're still running. What about you? Are you running towards or away from? There is no judgment against anyone who believes in him. But anyone who does not believe in him has already been judged for not believing in God's one and only Son. See, what that's saying is you already know, whether you want to or not, you already know where you will spend eternity. Long before we die. With Jesus, we're in heaven. Without him, we are not, because he is the only way. And Jesus said, and the judgment is based on this fact. God's light, that's him, Jesus came into the world, but people love the darkness more than they love the light. The only reason people don't make it into heaven is not God's issue, it's their issues, because they would rather live in the darkness than the light. Jesus said, what good is it for man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? What good is it to live the good life for a short period of time and miss the manager? I want you to imagine if I were to take a piece of string that I would tie it to the door, the basement door, run it out around, wrap it around the sign, and then I would wrap it all the way up to the cross, and wrap around the cross a few times, break it back down, and tie it off to this post right here. That represents eternity. There is one flaw with that illustration, because eternity never ends, but I think it will work for our illustration here. And then I gave you a marker, and I said, I want you to color 1 inch somewhere over there on the driveway portion of that string. That 1 inch represents your life on earth. This much versus all that string. This much is your life on earth. So when you look at it like that, we realize that our life on earth is just a vapor in the scope of eternity. So does it make any sense to forfeit eternal life to pursue the things of this earth? We see kids do it. They just don't understand time, but neither we know. When we have an eternal perspective of life through Jesus, it puts life in clear focus. And by walking in the light, we can see clearly, we can determine what matters most, and we can determine, you know what, this is really just a distraction. We will discover true purpose, and our hunger for life will be satisfied. And in the process, as we learn to grow and surrender, we give our burdens to Jesus. The process, it takes them and receives its joy, its power, its strength, and its peace. So let me ask you a question. What do you think? Is there any area of your life where you need to walk down in the street? Today could be that day. Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you that we could be here, Lord. And as we begin to look at really what deep faith is all about, what true faith is about, and following Jesus, Lord. Next week, we'll talk about faith, love, peace, and joy. Not things we all long for. But without Jesus, it just continues to exist. So I pray that your Spirit will work in our hearts right now. Draw us in your presence. Help us to see clearly where our life is at and where you want it. In Jesus' name I pray.